Within 10 minutes after that phone call, we noticed that the people coming across the border, the southern border, having to do with Mexico, they were at a trickle.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, he made some phone call about tariffs, and then the migrants overheard the phone call and stopped coming, or like, you know what I mean? Like, what is he talking about, dude? He's so full of shit.
Just a trickle. It was, in fact, I called the border. See, unlike my opponent.
I called the border. Yeah, what happened? Oh, it's just a trickle, dude. They heard your phone call and they're turned around.
A lot. And I said, how's the border looking today? They said,
he called the border, right? There's a big phone out there, a phone booth. It just says the border on it. Ring, ring. Hey, dude, Trump is calling the border. Let's go. Hey, what's up, Mr. Trump? Yes, this is the border speaking. Yes, no, the migrants, they are a trickle, Mr. Trump. Yes, no, they heard you. They heard you say tariffs to Canada, so everyone turned around, Mr. Trump. Yes, no, thank you. Thank you for calling the border. We'll speak soon. Bye-bye, Mr. Trump. The border saying, signing off, Mr. Trump. Dude, he called collect. Oh, my God, bro. Calling the border. Hello? No, dude, nobody's answering at the border. All right, all right. Fuck.
There's nobody here.
You are now proposing tariffs against the United States' three biggest trading partners. Economists of all stripes say that ultimately consumers pay the price of tariffs.
I don't believe it.
Can you guarantee American families won't pay more?
I can't guarantee anything. I can't guarantee tomorrow. I had a lot of tariffs on a lot of different countries, but in particular China. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars, and we had no inflation. In fact, when I handed it over, they didn't have inflation for a year and a half. They went almost 2 years just based on what I had created. And then they created inflation with energy and with spending too.
They created inflation. You know what else? Joe Biden did this crazy shit where they created inflation for the rest of the world too. Do you see that? Like, Joe Biden is so good at creating inflation. He created inflation for every country worldwide after COVID. Like, that is some talent, guys.
I think we will. I'm a big believer in tariffs. I think tariffs are the most beautiful word. I think they're beautiful. It's
the most
make us
beautiful
rich.
Word.
We're subsidizing Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state.
If we're going to subsidize Canada and Mexico, let them become a state, he says. But that's really interesting because, first off, we have some areas like Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico that want to be states. Why aren't they states, for starters, as long as we're granting statehood? But the whole subsidizing, like, what are we talking about? He makes it sound like we're just giving Mexico $300 billion. We're not. Or we're just giving Canada like hundreds of billions of dollars. We're trade partners. It is international trade. And there are trade-offs. Like, we may buy more shit from Mexico than Mexico buys from us, but we also have factories that are creating shit in Mexico that's like super cheap. And we're able to sell shit cheap here. And yes, it is called mutually beneficial. But again, though, even with our immediate neighbors now, he's trying to make them out to be like everybody's using us. Everybody's bilking us. It's like his rampant fucking paranoia that takes hold here.
We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world. And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fast, but fair playing field.
A level, fast, but fair playing field. What is the fast part? Any ideas? Dude, anyone? What the f is fast? have to do with this, bro? Dude, yeah, dude, I heard we're giving Mexico $100 billion and we all get to go to Mexico and give free exchanges. That's what's actually happening, is we give Mexico $100 billion and then they give us free exchanges. I've gotten 3 of them already, dude. I went to Mexico and I got one of those free Mexican U.S. subsidized exchanges. I changed to a woman and then I changed back to a man, bro. I go every 6 months and I get a free exchange. Bro, what is he fucking talking about, dude? God damn, he's fucking dumb, bro. Jesus.
Sir, your previous tariffs during your first administration cost Americans some $80 billion. And now you have major companies from Walmart, Black & Decker, AutoZone saying that any tariffs are going to force them to drive up prices for their consumers. How do you make sure that these CEOs, that these companies don't, in fact, pass on the cost of tariffs to their consumers?
They cost Americans nothing. They made a great economy for us.
See, now there, his first round of tariffs cost Americans $80 billion. And then Trump says they cost us nothing, which is a lie, but there's no pushback. There's zero pushback.
I have stopped wars with tariffs. But
I have stopped wars with tariffs. Bro, dude. What are we talking about, man?
You raised the point that the logistics are complicated. You said it yourself. You would
but everything's complicated.
Yeah, you need 24 times more ICE detention capacity just to deport 1 million people per year, not to mention more agents, more judges, more planes. Is it realistic to deport everyone who's here illegally?
You have no choice. First of all, they're costing us a fortune. But we're starting with the criminals.
By the way, his little deportation fantasy would be $960 billion. They've estimated it would cost $1 trillion to deport the people. Okay, just FYI.
Just let me just tell you, if we find something better, I would love to do it. But unless we find... But one thing I have to say.
If we find something better, I would love to do it. But let's take him at his word that according to him, Obamacare is terrible health care. It's too overpriced. It's too terrible. It doesn't work for anybody. And he's been trying to dismantle it. So why don't you have another health care plan? Why are you trying to dismantle this thing? And why are you saying this thing is so terrible? But now you're in the 10th year of being involved in politics, but you still don't have a fucking plan. Like, why don't you have a plan? And why are people, they voted him into office without a plan? And 10 years later, he still doesn't have a plan. But they gave him the presidency anyway. You stupid motherfuckers, stupid MAGA shitheads, voted for a guy who hasn't come up with a plan for 10 years. Why?
I inherited Obamacare, or anything else you want to go. It's got about 20 names, but
it's Obamacare ACA. It's got 2 names.
Inherited it. And I had a decision to make with Health and Human Services. I had a big decision to make. Do I make it as good as we can make it, or do I let it rot? And a lot of political people said, let it rot.
Now, here's where he segues into the lie that he somehow made Obamacare better, which he didn't, but he's going to say
let it
he
be
did.
A failure. I said, that's not the right thing to do. And I had very good people in the medical area that handled that. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, we really have an obligation to make it as good as we can. And we did. We made it as good as we can make it. Instead of making it bad where everybody would be calling for its repeal, I made it so that it works. Now,
but you did try to overturn it, sir.
Well, it's lousy.
You did try to overturn it. You did have your Justice Department try to direct the Supreme Court to.
Dude, he tried to overturn it during the pandemic.
Got a little bit of a surprising opinion, to be honest with you. If it would have been overturned, we would have had much better health care right now.
But how? How, Donald?
But right now, we have something that I made the best of.
Oh,
I could have made the worst of it, and it would have fallen by the wayside.
Now he's saying he made Obamacare great, but he just said 2 minutes ago how shitty it was.
I did the right thing from a human standpoint. But, you know, I'm sort of proud of my decision. At the same time, sometimes I regret it. I told the people, and I gave them the money to do it. I said, fix it, make it work, because people would have suffered. But it's too bad that they voted no. I wish John McCain, I wish he fought for 10 years on replacing Obamacare.
Dude, he fought for 10 years. He was trying to replace Obamacare before Obamacare even existed, according to Donald Trump.
10 years. And then he voted against. Nobody understands
Sir,
it.
you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain.
Yeah, there we go.
We have the biggest healthcare companies looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better answer, I would present that answer to Democrats and to everybody else, and I do something about it.
Well, apparently you don't have a better answer because it's been 10 fucking years and you've come up with nothing.
But until we have that, or until they can approve it, but we're not going to go through the big deal. I am the one that saved Obamacare. I will
now he's the one who saved it.
And I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it. And all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though,
No.
sir.
Kill it from a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir.
Dude, look at this. Look at what she says right here. In your concepts of a plan, sir, look at what she says. The way she makes this statement right here by saying, in your concepts of a plan, sir, she's basically now created the fact that the concepts of a plan are a real thing. And there actually is something to his concepts of a plan, but there aren't. If she asked him, name me one element of your concepts of a plan, he wouldn't have a single fucking thing to say. But watch what she does here. This is like truly disgusting.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill
Watch
it,
this.
sir.
Kill it from
your
a legal
concepts of
standpoint,
a plan.
but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir, will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage, and can you guarantee their prices will not go up?
The answer is
in your concepts of a plan, will people have, will pre-existing conditions be covered, and can you guarantee no price increase? Dude, what kind of feeding is that, bro?
Will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage, and can you guarantee their prices will not go up?
the answer is yes. They'll have coverage. You have to have it.
And what about their
Because
prices?
you know what?
What about their prices, sir?
I want the prices to go down. I want to have better health care for less money.
He wants to have better health care for less money. How? Whatever. It's in the concepts of the plan. She lets him skate. They let him skate. He's not responsible for answering a question. And if he says gibberish, they will then say, oh, what you're trying to say is this. And he's like, yes, I agree. They literally manufacture his bullshit for him. They protect him and coddle him and give him the benefit of the doubt and create foregone conclusions for him, and they summarize him, and they make the crazy shit he says sound sane and thoughtful. And now we've been talking about the concepts of the plan, but she's never asked him, like, okay, give me some of the concepts. Let's hear 5 of the concepts. Give me 5 bullet points about your healthcare plan that you're working on, because we know that they don't have a plan. They have 0 concepts. They have 0 plans. They have 0 ideas. They simply want to go back and get rid of that pre-existing condition thing. So insurance companies can take your money, get wealthy, buy back stock, and then when you're dying, they can tell you to f off and let you die. That's what Donald Trump wants. That's what the health insurance industry wants, because they're greedy, murderous motherfuckers. Which is why when one of them gets gunned down in the middle of the road, nobody cares. Everyone's kind of like golf clapping for the guy who did the shooting.
There are ways the press has to straighten itself out, because honestly, it's lost all credibility. When that can happen, based on the press, I should have gotten no votes, none. And yet I got the highest number ever. And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you
He fucking called her hostile Do you see that shit? He calls her hostile. She has done nothing but give him stroke after stroke after stroke. Like, that is such an intolerable joke, bro. You see that? She laughs and like, dude, she's not serious. These reporters are not serious. I honestly think the mainstream media needs to just bottom out because at this point, they're a fucking intolerable joke.
Hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty.
The questions are nasty. Dude, she didn't even push back.
Look.
I do. I want to kick his ass.
I've seen you interview
He's so gutless.
other people like Biden. And
I've never interviewed President Biden.
Oh,
I say you,
yeah, I've seen you interview people like Biden. She's like, I've never interviewed Biden. All right, Trumpy, let's see you weasel out of this, you fucking piece of shit. Here, let's go. Let's hear that
pretty
again.
Nasty. But look, because I've seen you interview other people like Biden. And
I've never interviewed President Biden. Actually.
When I say you, I'm talking metaphorically. I've seen.
Okay.
I'm talking metaphorically. I've seen like other people that are not you do things that I've never seen you do, but I'm attributing it to you.
I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden. He's a tough interviewer.
Bro.
It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft.
Dude, I saw Jake Tapper at the town hall put a blowtorch on Kamala Harris's feet for like 45 minutes. And I've never seen any of these reporters hold Trump to account like that, except maybe Rachel Scott. Remember from the NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists? She's the only person I ever saw really challenge Donald Trump.
Hopefully you think this interview was fair. We spent a lot of time talking about your...
Dude, I can't believe after this, she's like, hopefully you think this interview was fair. She is like bowing down and fucking filleting this knock-knocking piece of shit after he doesn't answer any questions. She doesn't push back on anything. She doesn't take him to task. She lets him lie with impunity for an hour and 14 minutes. And she's like, oh, I hope you think this was fair. Oh, please tell me you like me. Like letting you just be a complete cuck piece of shit.
In your second administration, I want to ask you, sir, one final question. What do you want to say to Americans who didn't support you in this campaign?
I'm going to treat you every bit as well as I have treated the greatest MAGA supporters. There's never been anything like MAGA.
Now, he's already going to ban transgender people from the military. Nancy Mace and his party are banning transgender people from using the bathroom. Even though transgender women at Mar-a-Lago use the women's room, they're banning them from the other restrooms. He's not going to do shit, bro, for anybody. He's already said how he's going to go to war with blue states and Democratic cities. And him and Tom Homan are threatening governors who don't want to be part of his little deportation scam. It is going to be a long 4 years, is all I can say. Because we already see that they haven't learned. They're doing the same shit they already did. Like, look at what they did with Project 2025. They're letting him act like he's still denying it, even though he's doing it, to the point of where he'll be breaking the Constitution, and they'll say, but are you really breaking the Constitution? And he'll say, no, I'm not, while he is. And they'll just be like, oh, okay, thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you. You want to say anything else while you're overturning the 14th Amendment? Do you have any other things you want to tell us while you're putting transgender people in jail? Oh, shit, you got rid of interracial marriage. Oh, they're resegregating the schools. Well, Mr. Trump, do you want to comment on that? And he'll be like, it's not happening. And they're like, oh, okay. Fucking jackheads, boss. And in the meantime, like, who knows what they're going to try to do to dismantle voting rights? I mean, dude, Jesus, that interview was a trash. No pushback. It's like so disappointing to see her just capitulate to his lies and to like the tiniest, most aimless little bits of pushback and no backbone behind it. And then at the end, when he calls her nasty, she's like, oh, I hope you can say this was a fair interview. It's like, why are you trying to get the approval of the subject to the interview? That's not your goddamn job. Your job is to not let them lie, to hold them accountable. Like Kristen Welker, bro. Seriously, these fucking reporters are so problematic, dude. Dude, shit is disturbing.